It's time now for the Newsmaker, and an extraordinary row has broken out between two of my colleagues. That's right, two of GB News' biggest stars, the Deputy Chairman of the Conservative Party, Lee Anderson, and Reform UK leader Richard Tice, with Tice strongly denying claims that Lee Anderson was offered a huge amount of money to defect to the party. This comes as the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, is quoted as saying a vote for Reform UK would put Keir Starmer in number 10. Well, let's speak now to tonight's Newsmaker, one of the most high-profile supporters of Reform UK, former government minister and broadcaster Anne Widdecombe. Anne, a very good evening to you. First of all, Anne, this war of words between Lee Anderson and Richard Tice, could this turn nasty, or is it handbags at dawn?
Oh, I think this is almost inevitable in an election year. I think all of us can remember in 2019, as we were coming up to a general election, there were allegations that the Conservative Party had rung up and tried to do deals and bribe people not to stand, former Conservatives not to stand against their former colleagues, etc. So this is par for the course, and it's not a GB News civil war. Come on, Mark. This is between two men who are in completely different parties and occupying very senior positions in those parties. But Lee Anderson has changed his story a bit. First of all, he said he'd received had been offered a huge amount of money, and I had visions of, sort of a large cheque being handed out. But then he said, no, actually, what he'd been asked to do was stand for Reform UK, and if he lost, he'd be found a job in the party. So it's gone from a pot of gold to a job in the party. Now, I don't take any of this seriously, and all I'm concerned about is the policies. And therefore, if you ask, am I Tice or Lee Anderson, I'm Tice, but on the basis of policies. Can you hear me, Mark?
I most certainly can, loud and clear, Anne. I'm just going to get a right of reply from Lee Anderson in a moment, but can I just ask you to confirm then, Anne, do Reform UK offer money for people to defect? Were you offered cash for your support?
Certainly not. And of course, I didn't initially support Reform UK. I changed to the Brexit Party because I wanted Brexit. I rang Nigel and proposed myself to join. Nobody suggested to me that I should. And then I didn't join Reform for quite a while because I had doubts about some of the policies. So I didn't join for quite a while. But then, because of the antics from the Tory party, I decided that, yes, I would join. And I've no regrets at all.
OK, let me tell you that Lee Anderson, Anne, has said the allegations made by Richard Tice are simply ridiculous. The facts are quite simple. From time to time, politicians do meet other politicians from different parties. At one such meeting, I was offered the chance to join another party for the following deal. I join within a few months and stand for this party at the next election. If I lost my seat, I'd be guaranteed a job with the party for 5 years on the same salary as an MP. To falsely claim that I used this as leverage to get the position of deputy chairman is an insult to me and my party. Well, there you go. A job which is the equivalent of 5 years as an MP. That sounds like a bribe to me, Anne.
Well, I mean, it depends entirely what the job entailed. If it was a token job, yes, that would be a bribe. If it was a very serious and demanding job, then, it might be lesser. But all I can say is that, as he himself says, politicians do meet each other from time to time, and huge pressure was put on me in 2019 by somebody senior in number 10. And this is a fact to which I would willingly testify with my hand on the good book. I was phoned up by a senior person in number 10 to say that if I would stand down, then they would involve me in what they called the Brexit talks, and heaven knows what that meant. But, this sort of stuff goes on the whole time.
How did you feel when you received that call? What were your emotions, Anne?
Well, I was furious. I mean, first of all, the person who called me tried to put enormous pressure on me not to stand, said it would be my fault if the Conservatives lost because I was standing in a marginal seat. It would be my fault if the Labour chap won again and the Conservatives lost. And so, first of all, he put that pressure on me, and I said, go away, I've thought of all of that. And then he rang me back later and offered me this very nebulous thing about being part of the talks. Oh, it was going on. It was going on, and other people were testifying.
And was that call threatening in its tone?
No, it wasn't threatening in its tone at all. If it had been threatening, I'd have put the phone down. No, it was from somebody I knew, but it was a high pressure call, and the answer was no. The answer was just simply no.
Which is the measure of your principles as a person and a politician, Anne, and more power to you. That's the Anne Widdecombe that I know and that my viewers and listeners know. Now, you used to be a big C Conservative, of course, a former top government minister in the Home Office, a long-standing Conservative MP and a legend of the party. I guess you could be described as a small C Conservative now because you've left the Tories and you support Reform UK. Do you not fear that if many people vote for Reform UK, that guarantees victory for Keir Starmer in a year's time?
Well, that was exactly what they said to us before, that if we voted for the Brexit Party, we would put Jeremy Corbyn in office. So we stood down against all the Conservative candidates and only fought Labour candidates. And so we did that. And what did we get? Did we get the Brexit that we were promised? We did not. Did we get any recognition for what we had done? Any thanks from Boris for what we had done? We did not. But crucially, Brexit, Northern Ireland, was betrayed. Now, they can't pull it a second time. They can't do it a second time and say, oh, you must stand down because you might put Starmer in. Because we would say, we've heard it all before. And I would say this, vote Tory, get pink. There is no blue party.
And are you suggesting, therefore, that 5 years of Labour is a price worth paying for the right of politics in this country to reform and reinvent itself?
Well, all I know is there are no Tories. So, when people say to me, look, the Tories will lose, I look round and I say, well, where are these Tories? There are no Tories. We haven't got a Tory government. We've got record high tax. This is a Conservative government, record immigration. This is a Conservative government. The NHS is in tatters. This is a Conservative government. We haven't actually got any Conservatives to vote for. Well, there are individual Conservatives, but we haven't got a Conservative party to vote for. And this time, I am very clear that we have to send not a warning shot across their bows, which is what we did with the Brexit European elections. We have to actually fire a big hole in the ship so that they start taking some notice.
And everyone takes notice of you. It's always a highlight to have you on the programme on a Sunday night as our newsmaker. Former government minister and television personality Anne Widdecombe, supporter of Reform UK, returns in a week's time.